Leader Summit. My name is Josh. As you probably know by now, I'm very excited to hang out with all of you this morning via Zoom, via YouTube, via our podcast. If you are now listening a couple weeks later on our podcast, so freaking pumped. We've had so much fun so far. Quick little recap. Wednesday night, myself and Mark, who is the co-creator of my life coach certification, we taught on the psychology of performance. You can catch the replay for that over on my YouTube channel under the live tab. The next morning we had Danny Detra, Stephanie Noble, Ashley McClellan, and we talked a little bit more specifically because I have a lot of health and fitness coaches that follow me. We dug in a little bit more to like the specifics of that business and what they've done to grow. Friday morning, we had some graduates from our life coach certification who do totally different things. So six-figure photographer, six-figure hairdresser, six-figure business coach. And man, that was such a fun session, just hearing all the different angles. And then yesterday afternoon, we had half of our master coaches on. And this morning, we have the other half of our master coaches on. So just to kind of like tell you what the hell a master coach is, we have a life coach certification. It's a 3-month program. After that, we have kind of more of like a graduates program for those that are like, some people do the life coach certification because they want to use it as a tool in what they already do. Some people do the life coach certification because they're like, Josh, I want to do what you do. So that's kind of what our more graduate program is like, let's become like an expert coach, not just a certified coach, but like this is essentially your master's degree in life coaching. We also teach a ton of marketing in that program. From that program, they're able to take a test at the end. And the idea is if you take this test and we feel confident that you could literally fill in for me if I had to call in sick, we then give you the title of master coach. So I want to make it very clear. These are not people who like wrote Josh a check to get an extra title. I saw that happening in some of the circles that like I was in when I first got started, and I hated it. I thought that was the most disgusting thing in the world. So the master coach title is something that has to be earned. They have a certain amount of hours that they have to put in as coaches. They have tests that they have to pass. They literally have to, the test that they take is like not just like me and Mark. They have to prove to the other master coaches that they belong. So like it's a pretty intense process. And only about 5 to 10% of people that go through the program get the actual title of master coach. So we have some badasses that you're going to be hanging out with today talking about limiting beliefs. I want to remind you one last time, if you didn't already grab this, you can go to joshcoates.com/leader bundle. And we put together this really awesome leaders performance bundle for you that comes with all of these incredible trainings. Questions that convert. This is like one of my favorite things in the world. I'm finding that so many people don't know how to talk to people in the inbox. We end up talking about our products, our programs, basically word vomiting all over everybody. And in reality, with the right framework of using questions, sales becomes literally the easiest part of the business. You don't have to do a lot of talking. You just have to ask the right questions. The perfect leadership system. This is how we motivate and mentor our team. The psychology of self-coaching. This is more about how to coach yourself and your own mindset. This is my favorite goal session that I put all of our life coaches, all of my one-on-one clients through, plus both of my books, plus a free one-on-one with one of our master coaches. So the master coaches that you heard from yesterday and today, these are the people you're going to get a free one-on-one call with. Again, they're basically double certified through our program. You click on this, okay? It takes you to this checkout page, and you literally copy and paste the coupon code, I am a leader. From here to the coupon code, hit Command V, and all of a sudden, this is magic. Oops, that didn't do. That took something from my email from earlier. Grab it from here. Let's try this again, Josh. Can you do this? Command C, Command V. There we go. And you hit apply, and just like magic, the decimal moves. It's now $9.99, okay? The only thing you have to do is you have to actually book your call with a master coach before you get access to the resources, okay? What we don't want to do is fill your head full of all of this training and things that you're supposed to do when you're still stuck in here thinking that you're not worthy of success, thinking that you're not a good leader. Like if you have a story in your head, and that's what we're going to dive into today. I'm so excited about it. If the story in your head is, I'm not a good leader, no amount of leadership systems is going to fix your business. So we have to deal with the story that's going on here first. Then we can actually jump into the resources and they'll finally work. Isn't that crazy? Has anybody ever been like, this doesn't work for me? Well, chances are it's not that it's not working for you. Chances are you have your subconscious mind working against you. And as long as you are internally working against yourself, not a lot of things are going to go right externally. Okay. So pumped to have all of you here. If you're able to, we would love to see your face this morning, even if kids are just like wrestling in the background and throwing each other off tables, whatever's going on in the background, we don't mind. As long as you're not peeing, it's okay. You can turn your video on and hang out with us. If you're eating, we don't care. If I were the one watching, I'm just gonna be real. When I jump on the calls with my mentor, I'm always chowing down on food. I'm like, I paid to be here, bro. I will eat if I want to. Okay. So no judgment or shame for whatever you got in the background. If it's not pretty, that's okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do just a little bit different than yesterday. One small little tweak. I am going to basically go through one at a time, kind of as you're listed on my Zoom. And just so you guys have a heads up, it's Annie, then Tina, then Tiffany on my Zoom. So I'm just going to like go in that order to start off. I want you to give like a 2-minute bio on kind of like who you are, what you do, who you help. Give me like your Instagram bio elevator pitch, just so we know kind of like the angle that like you approach things. And then I want you to follow that up with what was the biggest head story, limiting belief that you had, like before even like going through the life coach certification, that you had to address. And what were some of the things that you did to work through that to now become this like confident, badass master coach? So AVM coaching, Annie, I'm going to start with you. How are you, friend?
Sounds good. I'm great. Hello, everybody.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us. This has been
absolutely
such an amazing week. So, yeah. So a little bit of background about me. I have been an entrepreneur for basically my entire adult life. I've owned a variety of businesses. I was actually just looking at the calendar and realized the business that my husband and I own, which we still have going, our 20-year anniversary is a week from tomorrow of starting that. So that's like such a huge milestone that I'm really proud of. But I've owned my own businesses, like independent businesses. I've owned network marketing businesses. I've done a ton of different things in the entrepreneurial and small business field. And so what I do is that I help entrepreneurs figure out what they can get off of their plate so that they can focus on the things that matter the most, but matter the most both in their business and also in their life. I have a very strong focus on, really that like well-rounded whole picture. And I believe that when we can really hone in on those things that move the needle and are in your strength zone and get rid of the rest of it in whatever way that is, I'm going to help you figure out how to do that as well. Like whether we're automating, whether we're giving that work to somebody else to do, whether it really just is not making any progress and not really serving a purpose, again, in business or in life. And we can literally just cross that off your to-do list. That feels so good to just get rid of that stuff that is kind of a waste of time and be able to hone in on those most important things.
I love that. And Annie also is one of our founding members. I believe Tina is as well. Is that correct? Yes. But both of them came from our beta round when
and
we
Tiffany
launched the life
too,
coach.
I think
Tiffany
all
was
of
the
us
beta round too. You're right. All three of you were. No way. How'd that happen? All three of you from the beta round. I totally forgot about that. But Annie also is like an official team member of well, we call it Team Legacy because that's my LLC. But Josh Coates Push, like she's she's on our team meetings every single week, and she teaches inside the programs an automations call. So she essentially teaches people how to kind of like get their website set up, get funnels set up, get email opt-ins set up, ads, all of the like, I like to say high level stuff, but the reality is we've kind of found there's two types of people. There's one type of person that's really grown their business to the point where they don't want to have to sacrifice more time to hit bigger goals. They would rather pay some money to automate some things to hit their bigger goals. But there's a second type of person, and that is the person who maybe works full time. And they're like, I don't necessarily need this new business to make money per se. What I need it to do is open up freedom in my life. And I'm okay with paying some of the money I'm making over here to get this thing to take off faster so that I can get to a point where I have more freedom. So regardless of where you're at, Annie teaches some really cool stuff on that. So take us through what your biggest like, we've all had 1,000, right? But like maybe single one out that was the biggest thing that held you back, and kind of like what you did to overcome that.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say my core limiting belief that I've kind of struggled with my entire life and will probably always be a work in progress. It's always founded in I am not enough. And so the way that that looks in my businesses has been that I don't value the services that I'm providing. I'm okay with charging a little bit for it, or giving a lot away for free and just being like, I just want to help as many people, but actually valuing that and putting a price tag on it, number one, so that I can make it a income, right? Like that's number one, but also realizing, I think part of my pivot has been realizing that if you just give everything away for free, people are probably not going to use it. They're not going to value it either. But when you actually start to charge for what it's worth, and I think often we translate that to like what I'm worth, that's why pricing in business is so difficult, because we can so easily put that into our own value, like as a human, as a person, and all of that. So, once people are actually paying for that, that helps them show up. It helps them get the transformation that they want to have. And that was such a huge pivot for me, as well as just looking at, and I coach clients through this all the time. We look at the transformation that they give people. So we're looking at that very end point and going through like, hey, what is some feedback that clients have given you? What have you done for them? And what is that worth? And then all of a sudden, that can be such a huge aha moment. I also do a ton of sessions with people on just money limiting beliefs in general, because that can be, for so many of us, we have so much message in our head that's accumulated over the years with that. And so that can obviously play into it. But once we start to look at the transformation that we give people, rather than just like, maybe you sell a product, maybe you provide a service. And I think often when we look at that, we want to charge like a very little amount. But when we look at that transformation, we realize just how valuable it is to people and in their lives, and what a huge impact that is making. And that can really help us be able to charge what we're worth, charge what they're worth, charge, enough to make not just a good income and living for us and give us and our families the life of our dreams, but also help our client get what they really want, because then they start to show up for themselves.
Absolutely. I love that so much, Annie. And I want everyone, how many of you show me a jazzy or a comment if your video isn't on? Show me a jazzy if when you go to tell people what the prices are, you feel sick to your stomach. Show me jazzies. So I'm going to give you 2 hacks based on what Annie is talking about. First one is ask yourself how much time and money you save that person. how much time, and how much money. For some of you as like health and fitness coaches, your packages are like $180, which always cracks me up when you're like afraid to say $180. Like my packages are like 5,000. There are times when people literally don't have the money, like literally don't have the money. At 180, I would say 80% of people have the money. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to let it go, right? Which means that 80% of the people you're talking to can literally afford you and you're still freaking out about it, right? Like 20% of people literally can't. And I understand like that was me in my 20s. I literally didn't have $180 to give someone, but that's like more of like a 20% of people, right? Most people are going to go to Target today and spend $180, like on their way to the checkout from the groceries, right? Like, oh, that's fun. I don't think I'll throw that in the cart. And then I got 4 kids. So by the time I get to checkout, I'm like, what is all this stuff? I don't even know what this is, guys. Like, one of you needs to work at Target or something, right? So one, how much time do you save them? And I don't want you to think of that as hours in the day, even though that also counts. How many months would it have taken them to get the results you were about to just hand them? You ever thought of it that way? That's why I can justify charging $5,000. Because I'm like, if you learn from me, you can get the results you were wanting in the next 3 months that would have normally taken you 2 years. I just gave you back a couple years of your life. You see what I'm saying? How many of you do believe that when someone gives you money and they follow the tools, let's pretend for a second they actually do use the tools, they get results? Show me jazzies. You just relieved the biggest pain point in that person's entire life. Now, is that worth $180? Now, for those of you that get my little bundle, you're going to see how I ask questions to people to get them to say that out loud first before I even give a price. So I'll literally set them up for it. I'll ask questions and be like, if you did do this, what could your life look like a year from now? And they're like, oh, I could have this, I could have this, I could have this, I could have this, I could have this. I'm like, what would that be worth to you? And they're like, that would be priceless. Cool. Then let's talk about prices. And it's from that space and that energy that hearing $180 now sounds like nothing, because I actually envisioned my life fully changed for the better. Then I heard a price. Some of you just throw out a bunch of like details. Well, it's got 180 superfoods and 32 meal plans and blah, 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 blah. How much? $180. Well, yeah, $180 sounds stupid after hearing a bunch of shit they don't even care about. But if you can walk them through their goals, what they're struggling with, what they want, and what that's worth to them, and then throw a price, we're putting a price on the transformation, not on the process. Nobody wants to pay you $180 to wake up early every day. Nobody wants to do that. But $180 to have the life they've been dreaming of for 10 years, that's nothing. Makes sense? That was good stuff, Annie. Such good stuff. I appreciate it. Did you want to give some type of a tangible tip on how you kind of overcame the fear of not being enough?
Yeah, I mean, it's been just a massive work in progress. So, I kind of started off small, but I think really looking, just like on a personal level, starting to look back at all of the things that I have overcome in my life and all the things that I have done. I think especially when I started working on this, we had success with my husband's business, but in terms of my own personal businesses, there wasn't a lot of success and what I would consider achievement to look upon. Obviously, that is like a whole coaching session in itself because I had achieved some things. But I think just looking back at my life in its entirety and the challenges that I had met, because there were a lot of them, and starting to recognize that I had been through stuff that a lot of people don't go through in their life. I had to overcome these hurdles that a lot of people don't have to jump over. So of course they were further ahead than me. And really looking at that and starting to pull my own personal value from that, and also just what I could give back to others in terms of those challenges I had overcome. So
I love that.
it very much was like a very internal growth personal journey for me. And like I said, it's something that I know I see that limiting belief still pop up here and there in my life, but now I'm aware of it. So I can notice when it happens and then, do the work that it takes. And again, it's all like, now that I can self-coach myself with my master coaching skills, like I can then attack it rather than just kind of pushing it down and having it simmering under the surface, if that makes sense. But I also spent a lot of time and resources getting coaching myself.
Yeah.
That was a huge part of the process as well.
Yeah, because sometimes until you get coached, you're not fully aware that that's what's actually spinning in your head, right? It's like maybe you're like a little bit conscious, but it is usually through getting coached by someone else that the true consciousness comes of like, oh, shit, that's what was underneath all of that. And now I know what to start working on, even with your own time, with your own journaling, with your own coaching.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that, friend. I
Yeah.
love that, friend. Okay, we're moving on to Miss Tina Salisbury. So excited to have you, friend. Tell us in a couple minutes a little something about you, and then I want to hear all about your head voices.
Good morning, you guys. Thank you, Josh, so much. And thank you, Annie. You guys, make sure in your notes you write down a few ahas, because I don't know about you, but I'm already going to go listen to this every time I need to question my pricing, because I'm living into that, right? The time and money you're saving people up front. Ugh, I love it. So write that down. All right. My name is Tina Salisbury. You guys, I'm so excited to be here with you. I love teaching in Josh's groups and adding to this community, and so excited for you guys to pursue this avenue of coaching, because it's something that it really did. We hear that cliche, change your life, but it really did change everything about my life, and everything about what I have to give and offer to people. So I am a life design and performance coach. I have a group program called Momentum. I created a course called the Mind and Body Confidence Camp. And most recently, I created a program called Come Alive. I have my first retreat happening this fall, which I'm super excited about. And I teach this program in a one-on-one setting right now. But what I do is help women, entrepreneurs, and working moms to be able to move into more clarity. So working with me is like creating a map for your life, right? So we often know where we want to go, but we often don't look enough at where we're starting from. And when we neglect to look at that, we start to get busy doing all of the things that we think needs to get us to the end of this map. But we never ever had the starting destination. It's like telling Siri, hey, I'm somewhere in Utah, get me to Denver, Colorado, right? If I tell Siri, hey, I'm in Murray, Utah, get me to Denver, Colorado, it's going to get me there a lot quicker. And that's what I do to help women move forward. I help them to identify clearly where they want to go, but also where we're starting from, so that as we build that identity map for yourself, you're able to move into that person that you need to become to move yourself forward, rather than just trying to, as Annie said, prove that worthiness, right? Prove that I'm enough, prove that I can meet this goal. While in the meantime, we have all of these things going on underneath, right? Like Josh calls the weeds in our garden. We don't get to the root of those. They just keep growing back and back. And then we get frustrated about why we stay stuck, why we don't move ourselves forward, right? So if I got to the root of what I really help people to do, because most women, they want to have a successful business. They want to have the things for themselves, but they also want successful relationships. They want to be successful parents. They want to be able to give back to the world and to their families. That's why we work so hard. So I help women have an incredible parenting journey without losing themselves in the process, with finding their true identity as they move forward. And I love it every day. I love it so much.
I love that, friend. That's awesome. Who loves retreats? Anybody? Anybody love retreats? I love retreats. Retreats are awesome. I don't think I'm invited though. I think it's like a women's only thing. So I'll just let all of you guys go.
And it's sold out. Sold out. You have to wait till
sold
next
out.
year.
Oh, FOMO. Okay, tell us a little bit about the head voices you were having before you did the certification, because I feel like I can still remember your testimonial. Tell me this is right. I usually get these right. Every once in a while I cross them up, but I believe you were the person that listened to the podcast for 5 years and like never purchased a single program for 5 years. This girl stalking my webinars, not buying a single thing. And then out of nowhere, she jumps into the life coach certification. So tell me some of the things that was happening in Tina's head back then that you had to deal with.
Yeah, that's a good story to remember, right? It's like,
It is.
You borrowed me for free for 5 years. And I did, you guys. I would get to, Josh does an amazing job of helping us see clearly that vision of where we want to go, right? But every time it went to, okay, I should buy this, I'm like, nope, I can't, right? I'm not that girl, right? I've never felt like I was going to be able to follow through. And a lot of that came from a limiting belief that I had, that success is never enough. Success is never enough, right? Whatever I did, it was never enough. And then I felt like I was on this roller coaster of like, I gained this momentum and then I would have this hard drop, right? And I'd have to regain my momentum and get myself this hard drop. But that was actually just a surface belief that was holding me back. And actually, not only did I jump in quickly to the life coach school and just knew this is what I needed to do. I just felt in my heart like this was going to give me that path, because at the time I felt really lost in what I wanted to do and what my purpose was and what I was supposed to be doing. I was in a transition state where all my kids were finally getting into school, and all of a sudden, like that was supposed to happen 2 years ago. And then COVID hit us and I was like not having all my kids go to school. And then when it actually happened, I wasn't prepared for not knowing what my next step was. So I finished life coach certification, and then I also jumped in very quickly. I was one of those quick action takers for that group that moved us forward to advance our skills. And with that, I got a free one-on-one, right, with Josh, maybe 2 or 3, I think. But, and I don't know if he remembers this, but this actually changed my life. This one session changed my life. And we were talking about my goals and what I wanted to do and how I struggled because, when I got into my business, then I needed to go pick up a child or had to do the laundry or keep my house going and all of these things. And I said, I kept calling myself this stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home mom. Any of you trying to work from home, call yourself a stay-at-home mom? Yeah. And he said, Tina, do you remember, Josh, what you said? Tina, you're not a stay-at-home mom. You're a working mom. Why do you keep calling yourself a stay-at-home mom? And that doesn't sound like a big light bulb moment, you guys, but I was totally taken, I didn't even see it coming. And within that, I started to know the piece of me that's missing, what's holding me back is this identity, right? Me trying to pretend that these dreams that I have, who I actually want to be, I shouldn't be. And I had a mom that was a working mom. She was awesome. But I also remember wishing she could pick me up from practice, wishing that I didn't have to find all the rides, wishing that, she would be there at home more days when I got home from school, right? And I felt guilty if I couldn't provide that piece for my kids. So here's why life coaching was so important, because for years and years and years, I quit a multi-6-figure job because of this belief. I tried to start my own business and floundered for about 7 years because of this belief. And when I finally locked into that, right? And because of the life coaching training that I had, I was able to access a really important question. why can't I have both? How could I have both? And when I found the answer to that, I started, instead of getting busier and busier doing all the doing, right? We know all of the things we should do. I started working on me and who Tina needed to be to step into this role, to continue to be an amazing businesswoman, but also feel the presence that I wanted to as a parent for my relationships without feeling like I had to be all one or all the other. And success was never enough when I tried to be all one or all the other. And that's why I do what I do, because I started to recognize I have to dig into that more. So all of this year, 2023 has been my year of being totally me, of finding who I am, of living into this true identity of where I'm going, not just who I've been. And it changes the game. I told Josh earlier this year, I'm like, I can't set another puke goal. I'm like, I have to drop out of your groups for a while. I just can't do it. Right. And the reason why is because I would set this puke goal, right? And then I would let this limiting version of myself hold me away from doing that. And I did it so many times, I just couldn't do it anymore. Right. But then it was amazing. Within a month, I think I came back to Josh and I'm like, this is going to be $1 million business. And he was probably like, what the heck? Right. But the reason was because I finally allowed myself the time to live into who I was becoming, not just who I felt I was. And that made all the difference in me believing in these desires that you have too. And you don't have to give them up. They're not too much. You can do it. We just have to do it from the right version of you.
That's so freaking good, friend. So freaking. I remember that session too. I remember that. Sometimes it takes a little bit of a story to like the second you said what you said and asked if I remember what I said, I was like, oh shit, I do remember that. And friends, this is why my package that I'm offering for $10, which is like so stupid, by the way. That's just like what we like charge for shipping on the 2 books, comes with this string attached that you have to do a one-on-one session. Because had Tina not had that one-on-one session, she would still be stuck in the mindset of, and not there's anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that's not what she was. And I find this with so many women that it's like, if you're home with the kids, it becomes this really hard thing to separate the difference between being home with the kids and also running a business. And I run into it as a man sometimes too, but I also understand the psychology that comes with being a woman is just a different burden to carry. And I recognize that. And from coaching so many women and moms, I understand that this is more of like a generational thing that's been passed on over and over and over. Whereas the man, I was expected for thousands of years to just go to work. So no one even questions it. No one's like, oh, what are you doing? Working in your office while the kids are home? No one ever says that to the man, right? But to the woman, even if no one says it, it's still a thought in your head that was maybe passed down from a mom or a grandma, or even just society. Maybe even just like looking at Instagram today and seeing that mom that's like, here's 3 steps to organize everything in your house over the next 5 seconds. You're like, what the hell? Organize the whole house today? Like what? And then you're like, but I also have this business. And I'm passionate about this and I want to do this. So does that make me a bad mom? If I'm a good mom, am I a bad business person? And it's just like, and it's like at some point it's okay to say, I am not the stay-at-home mom that Susie down the street who also volunteers for Girl Scouts and PTA. Like I'm not that person, and that's okay. Now, if you are that person and you're watching this, also that's okay, right? Like there is no wrong path to be on, but you need to understand the path that you're on. I love what Tina said about like, if you're trying to get to someplace, you need to know like where you're at first. So Tina was trying from the let's say her starting point was stay-at-home mom was trying to get to successful business, and that wasn't working. But once we realized, oh, that's not even your starting point. Your starting point is you're a work from home mom. So like, let's put together a map from here to becoming the mom you want to be and the business owner that you want to be. And I am the one that's responsible for getting my kids to school and picking them up from school. So for me, like, I run $1 million business in 4 hours a day. And like, that's just what it is. That's what I have to do. And so that's what I have to do. And I think too many times it's like, well, if I can't have 12 hours a day, how will this ever work? And my thought to you would be like, why would you want it to work if it took 12 hours a day? And for some of you, I think that's the thing that actually holds you back, is you think you need all of this time for it to work. But in order for you to give that much time would, in your eyes, make you a bad parent and a bad spouse. So you just sabotage it over and over and over. Because who wants to be a bad parent? Anybody? Is anyone like, oh, me, sign me up for that? No one does. And this is how our head voice, I said this yesterday, our head voice plays dirty. Your head voice is like, I know that you care about being a good parent more than anything else. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to convince you that chasing this new path makes you a bad parent. Because if I can convince you that, you'll come away from the path and stay in the place of safety. And the head's only job is to try to keep you on the safest path. That's where the heart voice comes in, which is purpose, potential, love, strength, faith. And if you have a business, I just have to assume it's for a reason, because you wanted to help somebody. For some of you, you wanted to make a better life for your family. For some of you, you wanted to pay it forward and make a better life for other people. There was some type of purpose attached to it. And I just want to challenge you. Like, I don't want to get religious because I'm not a super religious person, but I am a very spiritual person. And I just want to challenge you to ask yourself, do you really think creator, universe, whatever you call it, has a problem with you fulfilling the purpose that you were born with? Do you really think you were given this purpose to help people just to have it pulled away from you? We're all parents if we chose to be, or if we got to be the blessing of. We're all significant others if we chose to be, or got the, the blessing. Not everyone has that right now. That's okay too. But like, whatever you are, whatever role you're at in your life right now is because you were blessed enough to have that. But that doesn't take away your other blessings. It should add to your other blessings. So that was so freaking good, Tina. I love that so much, man. Like, I was feeling all the feels on that, Tina. What is kind of like what would you say, like, I mean, it sounds like that coaching session helped a lot, but like, maybe walk me through, because this is where I think a lot of people struggle. Get an aha moment. Oh my God, that was so good. And then it's in a notebook somewhere buried away in the closet. So how did you hold on to that moment?
Yeah. I probably did that at first, right? Right after our session, is like, okay, that was great, right? And then I went back to trying to do more things. And the beginning of this year, I'm like, okay, I got to get myself involved in some things that are going to help me figure out who I am, right? And who I want to become. And I think, you guys, this is a really, for a lot of times I felt like I've done a course and not got anything from it, or maybe not taken a lot of action. So I go to do a different course, and then I find myself like this course junkie, right? Anyone feel kind of like a course junkie sometimes? I just want to tell you, you are supposed to say yes to every opportunity that you say yes to, right? And the reason so, you might not see it right now, but piecing together small things really help to make the difference. That makes the difference, right? Because it's all about changing our behaviors, right? Our habits and where we go. So that's what I went to work with. And the one tip that I would leave you guys with, like what made the difference, and this is something that you can tangibly do. So write in your notebook, put your hands on your keyboard right now. Like, When you start feeling the tug of a goal, instead of asking yourself, okay, what do I need to do? Right? Ask yourself a better question. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to be? Who do I need to be to actually get this result? And a couple of things are really going to happen for you. One, you already are going to make it happen, because when you ask yourself who I need to be, you're going to see yourself creating and generating that result. You're going to see it. You're going to see that it's not just something that would be nice to have, but that it's possible for you. Right? And then you'll be able to, instead of trying to pull yourself forward to all of the things you need to do, you're going to be able to look back and see what pushes you forward to actually become that person who hit that goal, right? And one of Josh's offerings in that leadership bundle is the goal setting workshop. In that, you will actually get the opportunity to do just that, to put yourself in this as this person, who you need to be, and access who you become once you hit whatever this goal is that you have. And you'll go back and look and say, okay, what did she do? What did she do? And those are the only things you have to focus on, right? Instead of that list of 20 things and all the advice that everyone gives you and things that worked for them and all of those things, and you think, and you feel like you have all these squirrel moments where you're chasing the next best thing, you can put it all aside and feel confident in that, right? How many times have you tried to put that aside, but then you feel, well, what if that was the thing I should be doing, right? All the time, right? But when you do this process, you guys lean in and really do that goal setting process. Because when you just look back at and you ask yourself, like, nobody knows the truth like you do, right? Josh has really, really great success and experience to share. I've got really great experience to share, but the one person that knows exactly what you need to do and how to do it in a way that brings you joy, peace, fulfillment in your life is you, right? So when you learn to trust her and lean into her, this best version of you, right? What lives in your soul, the worthy part that's already there, you will find really success, not just in the future when you hit a goal, but all along the way. And isn't that what we really want? We want to experience that now. I don't want to wait 5 years to get this. I want to have it now, right? So my business is not $1 million business yet. But man, I'm living like I have $1 million business every single day because of what I do for people and where it's going. So no doubt that goal is going to be hit, but I'm so excited that I don't have to wait 5 years, 3 years, 1 year to experience that. Like, I got it right now, every day when I wake up, because I'm choosing consciously, instead of what my mind offers me is go do all these things, to say, ooh, okay, who is she, right? What does she do? And now I'm going to lean into that, right? So change the question that you ask. Your mind's going to offer you. The next time you go after a goal, it's going to say, okay, what do I need to do? Now you're going to be like, oop, time out. All right, let me just sink into this a minute. Who do I need to be? Who do I need to become? And what did she do? She already hit this goal. What did she do? And you'll access the best parts of you in a way that brings you joy, fulfillment, and pushes you forward, instead of you have to pull yourself forward to this success. You guys can do it.
Good. So freaking good. So freaking good. And this is, by the way, how I still operate every single year. And I actually try to do it multiple times a year, to go out to my future self, find the goal, and then rewind to find out what it took to get that goal. And then that's how I decide where I put my time and energy into growth and investment. Not based on a Facebook ad that pops up and says, here's the one thing I did. I'm like, fuck you. I don't care what you did, because I'm not on your path. And there are 100 different paths of successful people that have a way to duplicate their path. But if you can do what Tina was just talking about and find your path from where you're at to where you want to be and what it is that it takes to get there, then you say, okay, who is helping people with these specific things that I'm looking for? If for you, it's like, I need more accountability. Okay, cool. a course with 37 modules that doesn't have any live access or any live coaching isn't going to help you if accountability is the number one thing you need. Even if there's a hack, do this hack to get 30,000. Guys, anyone who's telling you you're going to get more followers with their program, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that's bullshit. It is. The entire Instagram world is like, I don't want to use the word rigged because that sounds weird, but it kind of is. There are certain things that people on Instagram like to see. And those things get clicked on a lot. And if you don't bring the flavor that Instagram likes, your chances of going viral are like 1/100th. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't use Instagram, but don't be tricked into like, this is going to work so fast and then everything else will work. Really? Really? I find it so interesting that health and fitness coaches that believe in the day-to-day process are so quick to fall for a get rich quick Instagram. Like, isn't it funny how we can say, take care of your body, do the thing that's best for you, don't fall for that magic pill. Oh, a business magic pill? I'll just eat 100 of those today and see what does that do? It will do to your business the same thing it would do to your body. It will actually put a bunch of toxins in your business. And here's what I mean by that is you falsely just believing that something is going to fix your business leads to you actually manifesting a lot of like sabotage. It ends up with you feeling disappointed in yourself because you bought the thing and it didn't work. And now all you're doing is you're stacking loss on top of 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 loss. And what do you think that does to your self-esteem? If you instead are like, this is the path that I'm on, and I'm going to look for tools and support to help me down this path. And by the way, if there's a great training on Instagram that you need, there's nothing wrong with that. Go get that training. Absolutely. But find your path. Like, what are the things you believe in your heart it will take to get you to success? And then go start stacking those things on top of each other. Does that make sense? And over time, guess what? You know what I found? Would you agree that success could be like an analogy? It could be like A to Z, like if Z is really where you want to be. How many of you could just agree, just in theory, that if you can get from A to D, you could also get from D to G? And if you could get from D to G, you could also get from G to J. If you get from G to J, if you keep taking the steps forward. But that's why you need to know your freaking map. You need to know your freaking path, because too many of us are like squirrels, just like chasing everyone else's path all over the freaking map. And then we're like, this is so frustrating. I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm not getting any better results than I was 5 years ago. Well, that's because you never even got on your path. You just chased everybody else's path all over the map and ended up back at square one because you still haven't followed your own path. Find your path, friends. Okay, Tiffany, so excited to bring you on, my friend, to talk a little bit. Give us like the 2-minute Instagram bio version elevator pitch of yourself, and then we're going to dig into some of your head voice.
Hey everyone, I'm so happy you guys are here, and I, of course, am so happy to be here. So, I'm Tiffany Joy Matthews. I'm a wifey, I'm a mom of 2. I live in Orlando, so of course I have to be the self-proclaimed Disney girl. I have a whole group dedicated to it. I'm a master coach on Josh's team, but I'm also an elementary teacher. So what I do is I help women and support them in reigniting their passion for life by rediscovering the dreamer that lives in them and then communicating that dream to others. So, yeah.
Love that. Love that. Tell me more. Tell me more.
I mean, I have found that too often women become the wife or they become the mom, and then they just kind of stay in that identity. And then they see other women doing things and they're just like, I could never do what she does. So I love helping women go from I'm just a mom or I'm just a wife to being I can be so many, I'm these things and more.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, friend, so much. Tell me about your biggest head voices. I mean,
Okay.
we've definitely had some coaching sessions around some of this stuff. So like I just want you to be real and raw and just let it out.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd say that. I was hoping you'd say that. So for me, I grew up with my grandmother, and she was an immigrant from Jamaica. So of course there was that pressure of that immigrant mindset of you have to be perfect. You have to get those straight A's, you have to blend in, you don't want to stand out because you want to float under the radar. So growing up, I was put in private schools. But I was the only black girl in the private schools. So for me, it became an identity problem. So I remember not realizing who I was and just going through, okay, do I want to be this person? Do I want to be that person? I want to fit in because I want to make friends. And as I got older, that mindset stayed with me. And then it became about proving myself worthy to these friends. And even though my group of friends is very diverse, it was hard knowing who I was. And nothing was growing. I had hit accomplishments, but it didn't leave me feeling satisfied because I felt like those were the accomplishments that other people told me I should have compared to what I wanted to achieve for myself. So the thoughts for me that was going through my head was, can I do it? Am I worthy? And then the biggest one was, I don't know if I can do it because no one else looks like me. So I was playing the comparison game in a completely different way.
Oh, how many people relate to that, by the way? Nobody else looks like me. And for different reasons. You know what I mean? For Tiffany, it was like I'm literally the only black kid here and I'm an immigrant. So like I don't know how the vibe even works here. So I gotta like blend in. But like, let's be real. There's a lot of us that have dealt with something similar for other reasons, right? I was the poor kid who happened to be popular because I was good at sports. And so I felt like I just don't even belong in the popular crowd because I'm the poor kid. So how do I act like these kids so I can like I want you to see yourself and really feel what she's putting out, even if you don't have her exact story. That's why stories are powerful, friends, because the feeling invites you in to find your place in that story so you can also go on a self-discovery journey. So Tiffany, tell me, what are some of the specific things that finally kind of like have helped you to break through that mold? Not pretending that you're all the way broke through, because none of us are all the way broke through, but like what are the things that have helped you along the way to kind of break out of that and kind of like find your identity?
So, one of the first things I had to do was definitely shift my mindset and realize that I am me and she is she.
Mm.
There's only one of me. There's only one of you guys. It doesn't matter what we look like or what our walks of life are. This is my story. No two people are alike. So if no two people are alike, why am I wasting my time comparing myself to her journey?
Yeah,
I can take lessons from her journey. I can learn things from her journey, but that's not going to be my experience.
mm,
So I had to really dive into who do I want to be instead of what other people were telling me to be. I had to break through those stereotypes of, okay, I have all of these things coming down on me of what people perceive Black women to do or act like or be, and change that mindset of, I'm going to be who I want to be. If I want to be wild one day, I'm going to be wild one day. If I want to be quiet, I'm going to be quiet. Either way, I am breaking that down in my head and thinking about who do I want to be at my core, and then embracing that and living by that standard for myself every single day.
I love that, friend. I love that. I am me and she is she. I love that so much. That's so rad. Because like, how many of you, like, let's just be real, I'm gonna raise two hands for this one. How many of you have looked at other people's success and wondered why you can't look more like that, sound more like that, be more like that, have more like that? Anybody? How many of you have used someone else's success as an excuse for why you can't have success because you don't look, sound, feel, whatever like them? And what a powerful thing to say. This is the other note that I took down from what Tiff said. I can learn from her journey, but that's not me. I love that so much because this is the abundance mindset of the heart. So the head is scarcity, which means if you have it, I can't have it because there's not enough. If you have success and you look different or sound different and I can't fit that mold, then there must not be enough left for me. But abundance is there's enough for all of us. Like literally, there's enough for all of us. And isn't it crazy as coaches how quick we are to believe that for everybody else in the world? like if we're talking to somebody else, it's like, it doesn't matter what you look like, sound like, feel, none of that matters, girl. You have got this. You are so amazing and powerful. You are like literally a gift from God. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, why do I suck so bad? Like, what is wrong with me? And that's the beauty of the coaching process that we teach, is that tapping into your heart voice is beginning to believe for yourself the things you naturally believe for the people you love. Nobody has a head voice for other people. I mean, unless you're in like a toxic relationship and, you like really hate someone's guts or whatever. But in general, we don't have a voice of doubt, judgment, fear, and shame for other people. We only have it for ourselves. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Well, I'm going to give you two reasons. One is scientific and the other is not. Let's go with the non-science reason first. The non-science reason is you don't have to look in the mirror at other people. You just see them for who they really are. You just see a person, you're like, oh yeah, they have flaws, but they're good people. You focus more on the good in others than you do on the flaws. Psychologically, the reasoning we focus so much on our own flaws is because that fight or flight mechanism that I was been talking to you guys about the last 3 days. The only goal of your brain is to keep you safe. Safety equals no new challenges. The quickest and easiest way to back out of a challenge is to find a flaw in yourself that makes it to where you couldn't have the thing even if you did try. So why try? Does that make sense? So on the John Maxwell team, everybody was this 60, 70-year-old guy that had 30 years of business experience. I was like, well, I don't have business experience, so apparently this isn't going to work for me. What is that? That is my brain looking for a reason to opt out of the journey of growth. But then I would envision myself 10 years out and ask, but 10 years out, do you still want to be the guy making excuses that this can't work for you and won't work for you and be stuck with what you currently have? Or do you want to open up a new opportunity? And if you want the new opportunity, you have to be willing to go through the pain of a new opportunity. How many of you want your life to change so bad? Show me some jazzies. Can I be real with you? The tangible things it takes to get what you want are not really that difficult or that challenging. But the head voice you have to fight through in order to take those actions, that's a painful journey. Because it's a journey of self-awareness. It's a journey of being honest about the demons in your own head. And it's a journey of being willing to face those instead of just sitting down and saying, oh, that's uncomfortable. And it's like there's two places of uncomfortable. One place is being stuck with what you have. The other is fighting through what you have. And I always say, like, sometimes it's just more comfortable to just sit in a pile of our own shit, even though it smells like shit. We're at least used to it and we know what to expect. I hate this pile of shit, but at least I know exactly what it does. And stepping out of the shit is stepping into the unknown, which is very, very, very frightening. But at least we're not sitting in a pile of shit anymore. So it's like, which one do you want to do? Which one do you want to be your legacy? So let's talk about legacy. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about legacy. Tiffany, talk to me about the legacy you want to leave behind for other women. And by that, I just mean like John Maxwell says it this way, when we pass away, we get a tombstone with one sentence on it. That's about all we get, unless we're, the next president or whatever who gets a Wikipedia page and all that shit. For most of us, it's you get this one sentence. Like, what do you want people to remember about you that creates an impact in their life?
Ooh, that is a very good question. So the one thing I want is for me to leave this earth feeling like I've helped women be strong, both in their mindset and their marriages, their relationships, because that diversity that I want to bring is so important. And the legacy that can come from diversifying and from learning from each other can set the stage for future relationships, whether it be for my children, other people's children. When they look and see, oh my goodness, well, there was this woman here. She was confident in who she was. My mom was confident. If my sons are looking at that, I want them to know that anything is possible, no matter what you look like, no matter where you come from, no matter where you started from, or no matter where you want to go. It's all up to you. And you have the power to make the life the way you want to make it.
I love that so much, friend. I love that so much. Love it. Annie, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? What do you want people to say about you?
Yes. So I have a quote right there across from my desk where I can see it. Maya Angelou, which you guys probably all know, which is people will forget what you said, forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I want women, that's the legacy I want. I want people to remember the feelings that I gave them. And that being a famous Josh Coates quote, everything you have or everything you need is living on the inside. You already have it. So I think so often we go searching for things all over the place, and that thing that's going to fix it or that person who's going to save us, we don't need any of that until we can look inside first. So really, like, just that empowerment, embracing, like we've heard so much today, but like embracing who you are and recognizing the power that you have and not being afraid to unleash that too. Because that's also going to give other people permission to embrace their power.
Love that, friend. Love that. I want to rant on that so bad, but I need to shut up and let you guys talk. Tina, what is the legacy you want to leave behind?
So I'm just going to read you. I created for myself a personal manifesto this year to really live into this, who I need to be. So I'm just going to read you a little bit about that purpose, because this is the legacy that I want everyone to be able to have. So my purpose is to live fully alive and authentically into this life, pushing through the discomfort of who I am to all I have been called to be. I'm honest and true to my desires. I strengthen and share my gifts to help others expand their capacity, hear their heart, and live a life of peace and joy from their truest and highest identity. That's my wish for all of you. Live into that.
I love that so much. I love that so much, friend. Let's close this out by telling people where they can find you. If you could give your Instagram handle. And then also, we're going to be emailing everyone that gave us permission to free resources from all the speakers when this is over. But go ahead and just, if you could, I'll come right back to you, Tina, since we were just with you. Instagram handle and where to best connect with you if there's, somewhere else you want them to also go to.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Tina Salisbury Coaching. I'll put it in the chat in just a minute. So Tina Salisbury Coaching. That's a great place to find me. Also over on Facebook, you can find me at Tina Salisbury Coaching. I'll be sending out, as Josh said, a free resource. The 5-minute mindset just hacks, right? To take you from that person that you are caught in with your limitations to how to pull you into that future self of who you need to be. So I hope that it'll be very valuable for you guys to have and find that through your biggest struggles, how to instantly pull yourself into this person you need to be.
Love that, friend. Love that. Tiffany, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Facebook at Tiffany Joy Matthews. Come be my friend. I'm pretty funny. And you can also find me on Instagram at TiffanyJoy_coaching.
Cool. And then you have a Facebook Disney group. Am I right?
I do.
What's the name of that group?
Disney Girl Gang.
Disney Girl Gang.
Yes. And Josh, thanks to you, because I remembered a conversation we had. We have in the last 60 days, we have tripled in numbers.
Awesome. So proud of you, friend. So proud of you. And that's just honestly, it's just a great idea for those of you looking to expand your network, to create a Facebook group around some type of a common interest that just accumulates people, and then having conversations with them inside the group about other things. So she shares all things Disney, but also because she's a life coach, she goes live and shares inspiration on how to be a more powerful woman, how to be more confident, because like so many of the things that a lot of you like teach and help people do are such universal topics. It's not a weird thing to bring up. You know what I'm saying? So like if you're into confidence, if you're into goals, things like this, you can literally blend that with anything else in the world that other people are interested, as long as that interest kind of attracts, like, for instance, you know, Tiffany, it's not a Disney group, it's a Disney group for moms. So like, you know, Josh and all of his buddies aren't in there. Like, it's just like, they are the people she wants to be having those conversations with. Annie, tell us where to find you.
Yes, you can find me over on Instagram at AVM Coaching. And then my website is avmcoaching.com. I will also be sending out, so I have a workshop to take you guys through pinpointing those things that we need to like automate, delegate, just like totally get rid of, both in our business and our life. So that is what I will be sending you guys who have given permission. So I'm really excited about that. You can also just connect with me through that when it comes out. But yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you to my master coaches so much for giving us your time and energy. I would appreciate it so much if everyone just took a second to just go send some love to the master coaches for giving up their time and energy for free to add value to our lives today. This was a free thing. We allowed everybody to do it for free. So the one thing I ask is that you just go share love with the speakers who gave up their time to empower you and give so many incredible insights today. One last reminder, you can go to joshcoates.com/leader bundle to get all of the bonus resources that I talked about, plus my books, plus a one-on-one with one of the master coaches. And now you know who the master coaches are. These are the people you will be getting your one-on-one call with. How many of you are just like, dang, those are some powerful humans? Anyone feel that? Well, a couple of years ago, these powerful humans were literally just signing up for the life coach certification without a lot of tools, without a lot of confidence. Like I was literally just thinking like what it would have been like if 2.5 years ago, I would have had the three of you on and asked those exact questions. It's just like I'm really, really proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you for the journey that you've been on, for the growth that you've leaned into. All three of you have just, you know, you've been around with me since, what was that? Was that 2020? Is that when it was? End of 2020? So just like literally in the middle of a pandemic, we were like, I think we're finally ready to do this certification. We sent out an email and boom, we just went for it. We just did it. And the three of you have been so incredible. You've leaned into growth over and over and over. And I feel like you guys are just like living proof of my favorite quote that I have written since my first presentation, which says your outward success is an expression of your inward growth. Does everybody become a millionaire next week? Nah. Can everyone grow and become a better human who is more confident in themselves and actually fully embracing their purpose and passion in the next week? Absolutely. And I think it's so important to remember that. So many of us are on such a quick journey to trying to find the outward success that we skip over all of the inward growth it would take to even create that outward success. Love you guys so much. I appreciate you. Please remember that everything you need is already living on the inside. All of the resources you'll ever need are right under your nose. If you need a regular reminder of that, make sure and go back, watch these videos. All of the replays are on YouTube. We'll also be putting them on my podcast. I have a podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. It's just called Your Push Coach, but you can also just like type in my name to search for it. Tons of incredible content happening over there. I love you guys so much. Have such an amazing weekend. Hope you have awesome memories with your families, your loved ones. Go have a good time, and we'll see you all soon. Bye, friends.
The recording has stopped.